I just wanted to make a video for those who just struggle to pick themselves up during the day. I'm going through a moment where I was supposed to rest, and on the day I rested, I wasn't necessarily rested. And on times like this, I don't know how, but I just woke up from a nap. And I just know that I'm actually going through a moment where I'm actually about to do something that makes me uncomfortable, but that is good for me. But because the activation energy is so high, getting started is the entire battle for me. Doing the actual thing is 1%, but being consistent and doing it is another story. So I thought to myself, let me do like hype boy. Lately I've been listening to some of his videos, and I just love the fact that he had something to say and black screen. And it also enabled us to really focus on what he had to say more than just the visuals. So I hope you're not too thrown off about the black screen. I just wanted to peek into something, and I know that I know a lot of people struggle with that, and that is basically able to reclaim your focus and going about it in a non-pressuring way. You definitely need to have some kind of discipline. It's not the funniest part of your day, but you still need to get through it if you want to feel better in general. And you will laugh, but right now I've been dreading doing the laundry and cleaning up the entire house. For some people, it is as natural as eating. For me, despite of it being extremely important, it's not something that I like to do. It's something that requires a lot of energy from me. I know that when it comes to laundry, it's not just one little task. It is me going to the laundry, making sure that I don't know, it's so entire hourly long process. It's about minimum 3 hours for me. For the turnaround, the drying, then the folding, and then the tidying. And when it comes to when I'm talking about cleanup, I'm mainly not even talking about cleanup, but decluttering. What I say cleaning up is more of a fact that I know that I feel the need to declutter some stuff in my house, and because it's actually very emotionally demanding for me, I'm the kind of person who's like emotionally attached to like a book, a notebook, souvenirs. So sometimes it's a lot, even like certain clothes. If I know that, for example, my mother offered it to me, or like a friend for my birthday, I don't know, somehow I would want to sell it to someone it would bring joy, but I'm not necessarily the one who would put the box of giving out stuff in the common area of my residence. I'm not the kind of person to do that, for example. But I realized lately, through discussions yesterday, while meditating the Bible, the reason why one heart is has difficulties meditating and accepting, and I will go as far as saying sometimes when you slow down in your relationship with God, with yourself, is because you're cluttered. Like your mind is cluttered, your heart is cluttered. Lately I've been a lot more on social media, but not intentionally like I used to do. Now I found myself doom scrolling. So I can only imagine what my mind actually went through with the guilt of ghost storming and then coming back, being packed up. And on top of it, overthinker at play. I have so many ideas and the schedule and the time, and by the time I have the energy to do something, it's already nighttime. then the guilt builds up. And then, most importantly, I've tried to be consistent in my skin care. When I say skincare, I would say my spirit care routine. I tried, but when I say I tried, I really meant I tried in my head, but I haven't done it. Something that actually went out of the window the past 3 weeks, I would say, would have had to be my personal spirit care routine. The only time I seemingly do something for my spirit is when I go to church on Sunday and, on Wednesday. The rest of the time, myself with God, barely. When I pray, it's not, I don't pray with intentions. I know something is wrong. And now I'm realizing I don't have any excuses. My driving lessons are like on hold for now. I've done the major things I was supposed to do. There's nothing major stopping me from getting into the decluttering part of the things that I've been putting in the box and archives for a long time. Now it's time to get them out and actually get to doing that. And on top of that, overcoming that thing of, being attached to stuff. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's just part of your personality. But I know that in my case, I like minimalism. I like not just minimalism. What I like is the sense of emptiness in my room. I love when I have the bare minimum. I love when things are clear. I love luminosity. And if you come into my house, you would see that everything is really, I feel like the most at peace when the drapes are brownish beige, wooden, whitish, off-white colors. Like if you see something, it is functional too. A little plant, but I don't overdo it. That's just how I like my space to be, And right now it doesn't look like that. So it's time to basically make sure that, the clothes are what they're supposed to be. And on top of that the things I don't use anymore, that I do get rid of it. But it's actually not an easy task for me. And on top of that, the activation and energy getting to do that stuff is so high. So I'm gonna stop rambling, but I'm just giving you a context here. Now I'm going to give you what I am meditating right now to get myself doing what I don't want to do, and keep that promise to myself that, hey, today I woke up saying I would definitely go through that laundry thing, and on top of that I will make sure I declutter today. Today is the day. So what are we going to meditate? We're going to meditate Colossians 3:23. I think I'm going to get the New Living Translation for you guys. Yes. And why I want to use the Bible is because I know that in order for, like, I know that the spirit has a cause and effect on your body and ultimately your actions. So right now my spirit is hungry. My spirit is hungry, and right now it doesn't have the nutrients to basically get itself to do what needs to be done. So I'm fixing that right now. Okay, so Colossians 3:23. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Wow. Okay, I repeat that for you guys just in case. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Colossians 3:23. Okay, so that has, before I dive into my reflection upon that, my first impression is my first focus was really the part where it says as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. I'm able to do a lot of stuff. I'm responsible when it comes to others being at stake. When it comes to me, I tend to be a lot less reliable. That's something that I knew I wanted to improve. I did improve along the years, but at times like this, when I feel a bit dissipated and stuff, that's the first thing that goes. Accountability with myself. I'm definitely catching myself today about this, because if you realize that taking care of yourself and keeping promises to yourself, as little as being able to respect your schedule, when you say you do something, you actually get to do that. Decluttering is actually giving glory to God. It's actually working for the Lord. Because if your space is right, then it means that your mindset is right. It means that your soul has more space to intake a lot more useful stuff, a lot more God-like material. So it invites the right frequencies in your life. So the thing that actually touches me right now, like if I dive into my reflection, is the fact that every single time I wake up and live, I do it for God because I love myself. I love myself, so I want to do it. But what motivates me even more is the fact that God even wants that for me. It would actually make him sad that you yourself, you wouldn't take care of yourself. You wouldn't take care of the things that you promise yourself to do. Let's say you were actually planning to go for a walk today and take pictures of nature because that's what you like. If you actually let yourself down in that can actually make God sad, because that's something that he actually set the day forward for you for that. If he gave you the camera, if he gave you the opportunity to live nearby nature, or at least having the will to go there, it's your godly frequencies that actually enabled you to even think of that. And every single time you deny that and you don't do that, the next day you deplete in energy. Like you would actually feel low because you didn't actually live up to the frequencies that you were receiving that were from God. And those waves and those frequencies, respect them. So me, the reason why I feel like I reached my point of, oh my gosh, I can't do that anymore, is because I've been procrastinating this whole decluttering thing since forever. But on top of that, it's been a week and a half that I set every day on my schedule that I would actually attack some of it. And I never catered to the objective I set myself. I just started, it was already time for another thing. And I realized that my problem is not the fact that I have a problem managing my schedule, because I do get it done when it comes to others. But now, when I say when it comes to others, like, let's say if I am the only one involved, I wouldn't have as much energy to do it. But once, for example, I have a choreography, a shooting, because I know it involves other people, I will show up and on time and in advance. So that kind of discipline and diligence, it's in me. It wasn't always like that, but I basically grown in being like that. I'm going to make a video about how to overcome that, by the way. But now the second step for me is how do I show up for myself in times like this, when there is the stakes are not as high and public as it needs to be. Right now, the first person to deal with that is me and myself and I. So I'm like, okay, let's show up for me, let's show up for yourself. And I started to realize that that's actually what God wants. And the reason why I felt so out of place and so disoriented, and I don't know why, but there was that sense of frustration, is because it doesn't look like you. It doesn't look like me. Every single time we set ourselves to do something and we don't do it, we feel bad because we are at God's image. God is the kind of being, when He says something, He accomplishes it. That's what the faith in God actually is built into. It's not blind faith. That's why your faith keeps on growing when you get to meditate His word and understand it, because once you actually see how He's been prophesizing stuff and accomplishing to the dot, to the T, every T is crossed, every I is dotted, that's actually how your faith actually grows. People who just believe blindly is actually called a superstition, because it's not based on real understanding. And you will see that people who have strong faith, they are not people who just say with their mouth that they have a huge faith. It shows through their action. That's why the disciples, who are not religious scholars of their time, were able to actually follow Jesus, and they were able to be, the accomplishment of the prophecies about them of the Old Testament. Why? They followed their Messiah because they actually got to compare, oh, so this is what the prophecies told about him, and oh yeah, he was born in that place, oh yeah, da 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 da. They made all, they linked everything. They based on the fact they based their faith on the fact that God prophesied it before, and now right in front of their eyes everything is being accomplished. That's how they grew the faith. In the same for Jesus, they rejected Jesus at the time of tribulation. You have to understand that they had their low points and their low moments. They were not perfect soldiers all the way. But what they actually did according to Proverbs, they were reasoned back up. Meaning that every single time the just, the righteous falls, they get up. They're picked back up. That's what you need to do. I was down. I felt like, man, what am I doing? But instead of blaming yourself, get up, okay? Why? Because what happened, what enabled them to get up is to go back to the accomplishment of the Word of God. The accomplishment is Jesus, who actually is risen from the dead. That's how they were able, after Jesus resurrected, to actually sacrifice their lives to preach the gospel, because they've had understanding of the prophecies, and they were able to see it. And because they saw it and they lived it, guys, the faith kept on growing because they went through that. You see what I mean? So it's the same thing. As little as it is to keep a little promise to yourself, well, just know it's not little, because what you do is actually working willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Because this is what true worship is. It means that even in your secret place, you still show up. And loving yourself is actually one of the most important commandments that God actually gives you. Love your neighbor like yourself. The first neighbor that you have is your spirit, is yourself. So you need to make sure that you keep that promise. Sometimes it's human. It's just a human thing. I realized that when we need to show up for ourselves, it's a lot more difficult than if you had outside pressure, right? Well, now I'm telling you that the pressure that God programmed in you, in your spirit, is the fact that this is up to you to love yourself. This is you glorifying the godly divine in you. So you need to understand that this is clearly one thing that you need to apply, and I will apply it myself too. Because I will return to my day after my nap that is actually very well deserved after yesterday, and whatever lies before you, approach it willingly, okay? Not from pressure, but from purpose. And everything that you do, work with peace in your heart, with love, with gentleness. Like, be gentle with yourself and speak with grace. Speak life into your life, into your day, into yourself. So this day is a space for you to serve in light and in truth. That's what you need to do. And that's what we need to do. So today, I make the promise that the laundry will be done and the declutter had begun.